All right, this should be a fun episode. Let's go through all the different types of residential buildings that you can buy here in Malaysia. Starting with the most common one, terrace houses. In any kampong, you will find rows and rows of houses that kind of look the same because the developer develops the whole neighborhood. They have a specific kind of look and feel. Terrace houses, typically, you have many neighbors and all of them share a party wall between the units. Sometimes they are called link houses, and link houses just basically mean it has a bigger footprint or a bigger brother to the common terrace house. A terrace house could be 20 feet wide by 50 feet in depth. A link house could be 20 feet wide or 25 feet wide by 70 feet in depth. So it's just a bigger building. Don't get confused between the two. The next type is a townhouse, or you can kind of see it as a mini apartment building, whereby, let's say this is a 3-story building. Each story has different owners and different access points. So for example, the owner in the ground floor can access directly, and then there's a stairs here to go up for the owner in the first floor and the second floor. Stairs up, so individual owners, and basically the benefit is for homeowners that don't want to live in a high rise but cannot really afford or don't really want to spend that much for a terrace house. You can go for a townhouse and it will kind of still feel like you're living in a landed property, especially if you live on the ground floor. Okay, the next one is a semi-detached house, a building with a common party wall between them. This half has one owner, this half has one owner, and as free land is not conjoined to any other building. Semi-D. The next one is a bungalow or a villa. Basically, if you have a lot of money, you buy your own land, you build your own house, you hire your own designers, your own architects. You can have anything and everything you want as long as you comply to the guidelines, your town planning guidelines. You can have a swimming pool, you can have your koi pond, anything under the sun as long as you comply. Sometimes even bowling alley if you are so ambitious, or a movie theater in the house itself. Okay, the next one is affordable flats or apartments. If you don't really know how to distinguish, well, first is the price, obviously. Second one is if you look from afar, let's say if you kind of not sure if this is the house that you're going to buy, and then those neighboring high rises, are they flats or apartments or condos? The most common indicator would be how big the size of the window is and the density. So if it's a very dense building, high rise with small windows, it's an apartment. Let's go to the next section. This one is a condo. So if it has a glass curtain railing, they call it, basically a lot of glass, then very likely it's a condo or a service apartment. And finally, it's a kind of SOHO or mixed-use building, whereby part of this big building is for residential use or / commercial use. The other part could be for full commercial use, and this part could be, for example, event space. So it's all kind of mixed in this one big happy family. And sometimes there could be a loft in this SOHO where it's like an apartment building, but it's not a 1-story apartment building. It's actually a double volume height where you can actually have, kind of a ground floor and stairs to the upper floor within that unit itself. You just have to be mindful that if you see SOHO, for example, you are paying commercial rates most likely for the utilities. So you're not paying residential rates like an apartment. Your TNB bill will be higher. There might be other higher maintenance fees compared to residential buildings. And now we are going to the bonus section. Okay, let me just move things around. Pro tip, um, if let's say you go to your viewing and you kind of like the design from the outside, but what about the inside? If you go to a new sub-sale home, maybe there's no furniture to give you a good feel of the space. I want to tell you like kind of like how you're gonna imagine the space, or if you go to the showroom, that might give you a good idea as well. Now, to find out whether the space is good for you or not, look at just close your eyes, walk through that space. Let's say if it's a showroom, enter through the living, walk to the dining and the kitchen area. Is it a good experience or not? Is the flow okay or not? Is it like, does it feel pleasant to you? And it's a very, very subjective thing. So, for example, if you like cooking, right? Typically, cooking has the best arrangement is a triangular pattern. Means you can prep here, you can cook here, and you can wash here. So there's this triangular relationship. Do you like that experience? Can you imagine yourself preparing your food there? Of course, this is a giant kitchen. So, for example, I have friends who are very clumsy, and the condo that they bought, the kitchen sink is like so tiny. So every time they wash their dishes, they'll splash the water all over the kitchen area, which is just in front of the living area because it's a small unit. It's just not designed very well, and that could just give you a lot of grief, something to look to. Of course, if you really like the space, you might have to do some renovation to maybe move the piping a little bit, and that would be additional cost to you. So it's good to know things upfront. Okay, a good dining space. So keep in mind, if you decide to have pendant lights like this, then you cannot have a fan above. Malaysia very hot, right? So think about design as well, whether you want to have a fan or a pendant light, and then really what kind of dining set you want, how much is your budget. It's really an open market. You can have something from as little as 500 ringgit at IKEA to I've seen some ridiculous dining tables that are so nice, so tempting, but it's like 15 to 20,000 ringgit. And then your living area, what's the situation like? Where is the window at? For some people who really follow feng shui, the experience of going in and then seeing your living room, that could be important for you. So find if this works for you, the kitchen, dining, and living. The next thing is the room size. So a good width, the room must have at least 3.5 to 4 meters wide. So for example, if you see like this, there is your queen or your king bedroom. There is some space here to put your furniture, your TV, or a shelf, things like that. And this kind of size is modeled after hotel rooms. So all hotel rooms kind of have that standard size as well. If, for example, now I have seen like odd room sizes that are like too narrow. You can't quite figure out how the bed configuration works. And if you have a lot of barang-barang, right, that you want to store, try to avoid it. Okay. Another tip is bring your measurement tape or this laser pointer device to kind of figure out the size. And if let's say you are kind of moving to a house and you have a lot of existing furniture already, and you know those are furniture that you want to bring over, make a list of them, go to your viewing and start imagining where things are gonna be at, so that you can kind of like brain the whole spatial experience. Last but not least is the accessibility of the unit, which people don't think about. So for example, if you can view the house, you just go straight up there. But what about the time taken to drive to your unit? how's the parking experience like? How's the experience like for your visitors to come to you? So if you have elderly parents or in-laws, is it easy for them to come into your space or not? If you're in a condo, is it confusing for them? These are the things that you need to consider. So yeah, that's it from me from this episode. See you in the next one.